Hi, this is Cheryl Gallant, your Conservative Member of Parliament for the haunting riding of Renfrew-Nipissing-Pembroke. The Liberals are riding high in the polls and want to have an election before public sentiment changes. They thought shuttering Parliament altogether for over a month would help people forget about the way your taxes went to a so-called charity. That charity, in turn, paid members of the Prime Minister's family hundreds of thousands of dollars. The Finance Minister, one of Canada's elite families, so rich he forgot to mention his chateau in France for ethics reporting purposes, also forgot to disclose the charity poised to obtain a $1 billion government contract, gave him trips to Ecuador and Kenya, valued at $40,000. Two of his children also worked for the charity. The charity was but one organization in a complex web, including for-profit companies. Trudeau is using the pandemic to rob Canadians blind, robbing family businesses of their livelihoods, robbing students of their educations so they won't learn critical thinking and understand that this authoritarian government is taking more than you have to give. He's decreeing who is deemed essential and who is deemed non-essential and doomed to financial oblivion. And all the while, making it look as though medical advisors are calling the shots. What Canadians want to know, have a right to know, is how deep the profiteering off the pandemic, the lockdowns, how deep that profiteering runs. We know about one MP whose company received a grant while he was an active member of a committee for the department which gave him the grant. Frank Baylis was a single-term Liberal MP for the Quebec riding of Pierrefonds-Gallant, opting not to run in the last election. While still a member of Parliament, and while Frank was a member of the Industry Committee, Frank's company, Baylis Medical, on September 14th of 2017, applied for government funding. The company's $422,946 contract was approved last December 19th, 2 months after Baylis left Parliament following his single term as an MP. In a separate contract, this government last April 10th agreed to pay $237.3 million to Baylis Medical for 10,000 ventilators, though the devices were not approved in any jurisdiction. The Liberal government licensed the ventilators June 17th, 2 months after the contract was signed. The Prime Minister agreed to pay $237 million to Baylis Medical for 10,000 ventilators, even though the devices weren't approved in any jurisdiction. A former Liberal MP with technology that has no track record of being approved anywhere in the world got a special deal. So there's one well-connected Liberal hauling in hundreds of millions of dollars for a contract that was never filled. How many others are there like that out there? On April 30th of next year, All of you who received or still receiving CERB are going to have to come up with hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars to pay the tax man. Some self-employed individuals will be paying an effective marginal tax rate of 119%. Is it okay with you if that money goes to the super rich without giving any benefit to Canadians? Where has the $400 billion already spent on the pandemic actually gone? Trudeau has slapped a national security exemption on personal protective equipment. That means whoever's getting the billions of dollars is a secret for national security reasons. So there is no other way to find out where the money actually ends up. Generally speaking, when there's an election, everyone is inundated with election coverage, news, social media for 6 weeks. The public forgets what was happening before. Total amnesia. Win or lose, all the Liberal failures will be forgotten. More raiding of the Treasury. More freedoms taken away from everyday Canadians. No more hunting for food. Then the bans on fishing will come. The Liberals have failed Canadians. Failed to close the borders, failed to secure personal protective equipment, have them in stock, failed to allow conditions to keep businesses afloat, let alone thriving, failed to approve rapid testing in time for the second wave. Soon we'll find out if Trudeau has failed again and plunged us into an election. Anything to stop the truth about what's really going on from being told. Trudeau says he cannot handle dealing with the pandemic and telling people where their money is going, but he has time to invite himself to campaign in elementary schools across the country. He's trying to influence voters through their children. Despicable. Live from Ottawa, this is Cheryl Gallant, wishing you a good night.